don't feel that?
Yeah.
Faking it.
Nickel 9. 59J. Now you see me every day, living life, feeling safe. And every video that I drop make you feel some type of way. All I'm speaking on is facts about your homies in them gates. You trying to kill your homie, yet I'm trying to set them straight. Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed. And like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. To this video, with that being said, man, I'm not going to do a lot of editing with it. So, you know, you might see me cough, drink some water, who knows. But I'm in Los Angeles right now as we speak, like Hawthorne and Inglewood area. I believe I seen Lennox was right around the corner, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm doing a podcast with Johnny Mitchell. His podcast on YouTube is called The Connect. You know, shout out to Hector Bravo. He's been hooking me up with a lot of networking and being able to link up with other people and, you know, share my personal stories. So believe it or not, Hector Bravo from the prison guard, man, has been very helpful with my journey. And, you know, hopefully I can, you know, take it as far as I possibly can. Give my son something to be proud of when he looks it up later on YouTube of what I've done and what I've accomplished. So you guys seen the thumbnail. I want to get into this video, so let's get right into it. The day I posted on Instagram, man, it was a quick little story. I met a homie back in the day when I was an NSOL. Around this time, he was also an NSOL. And he used to work with a NF member named Martin Martinez Sykes from, he's from Goshen, but his street regiment was in San Jose at the time. And he took over a lot of trap spots, moved a lot of dope from the valley to San Jose. And if you read this book right here by a boxer, he talks about Sykes in there too, and Sykes' little brother Angel. I was on the yard with Angel before Angel paroled and started working with the regiments and working for the NF members. So there was another NSOL by the name of Spanky from San Jose. He was from I don't want to say it was like Barrio San Jose or something like that. Something like that. I know it was an older generation of Sajoneros. And dude was he had, I think he had East Side on his face, an ES on his face, colored in. And older homie, conducted himself very professionally. And we used to be on the yard together, right? And it would be like Angel, me, Ula from the Nell camp, RG. And there was a couple other NSOLs. But at the time, I was head of security. So what I did was I run the yard department and I was running the squad department. So I'd always be out there I wouldn't mingle. I was an NSOL. It was almost going to be my third year in the prison system as an NSOL. So I was learning all my chain of command positions that was being distributed to me. Everything that I was assigned, all my consignments, bro, I took it serious because I was striving to be an NSOL, like bad. Not to be an NSOL, so to speak, but like the biggest NSOL, like the one that had all the prestige, the one that, you know, had a reputation that when he got to the yard, man, he conducted business. He was real good when it came to, you know, conducting plans of attack, removals, getting people hit without being caught. I took pride in that position, bro, because I was always ready for warfare. So I remember one yard. It was after a removal that we did on the yard, and then the Southsiders did a removal. I remember this day vividly because I had to go discipline two Norteños or two Northerners because they were just, you know, not following protocol, not taking the squad department serious. So one of them, I believe he was from Merced. He was from M Street. Little guy. He had like blue eyes and all that. I can't remember his name. And somebody he used to kick it with. So I told him, I gave them their infractions. I gave them their lecture. And the little guy from M Street, from Merced, he kind of like joked about it. Like he made it seem like, you know, just because you're an NSOL don't mean you're all that. That's how I took it when I was trying to lecture him. Like, hey, bro, you should be doing this, focusing on this. You failed to do this. This was your duty as a squad member. So I crack him, and he kind of laughs at me. So I was like, all right, I'm making an additional, do your 500 burpees, and after that, you could do 2,000 jumping jacks, you and your partner. So I made him do 2,000 jumping jacks every yard for 3 yards, and in addition to his 500 burpees for his squad department. So I remember it was me and it was a homie from Antigua, and we were walking the yard together, and I'm just, you know, I'm scoping the yard. I'm looking at all my squad members. Okay, they're in groups of 2. They're in groups of 3. They're in a triangular motion. Okay, I got 2 hitters that are always posted by the horseshoe area, which where I bury the weapons. And then the yard department, I'm looking at the observation post, the yard security, the yard channel, Okay, they're in unison with the squad department. Everybody's, functioning properly. And that homie Spanky from San Jose, he was at the table with Angel. And then I'm patrolling the yard and I'm talking to the homie from Antigua, but I'm looking at the yard. I'm being very, observant. And he pulls me to the side and he goes, "Hey, damn, bro." He goes, "You make that head of security thing look real easy." And I was like, "Appreciate it, bro. I'm just doing my job. I know what my job consists of." And this was at a time where the Norteños, I think we were like 50, 60 deep, but the Southerners were like 200 deep, right? This was a level 3. But in my head, I'm like, bro, I got to be secure, bro. These Southsiders, man, we got access to dangerous weapons. We can kill each other in a heartbeat. So anyways, I wound up just taking my job real seriously. The removal that happened like maybe 2 months prior because we got off lockdown. I set up that plan of attack, but the squad department and the squad leader is the one that set up the drill to get the man removed, right? And get him stabbed. All I did was set it up like where the weapons are located, where to retrieve them, who's going to retrieve them, where they're going to escort this individual. But the squad leader and the yard security were the ones that really carried it out. I just drafted it up from a prison cell, right? That was my job. So anyways, when they tell me that, I remember I got pulled over by RG. And he's like, "Hey, bro, you've been doing good since you've been here. Just buttering me up." And to be honest with you, when end souls are doing that to you, is because they want something from you. So immediately I was like, well, what do I got to do next since, you're bringing this up. The homie just brought this up. And I remember me and him staring at the yard. And dude, this was like the summertime, bro. So it was like maybe June, July. I remember this vividly because I used to be baking out there. And there was a homie from Sacramento, Garden Block. And we were making fun of him like an hour before because he just turned black, bro. He was dark brown, but he just turned black because the sun was giving him a tan, like black. So that's how I remember this was summertime. And he just remember staring at it. He has like a little, his name was RG from Visalia. He has like a feather behind his head. And some of my subscribers from Visalia know him. I actually talked to some of his relatives and the mother of his kids about him. Told them my personal stories about him. But I remember this day. He was just looking, and RG is like 6'2", 6'3", like almost 280. Hefty boy, big chunky boy, huge dude, big old gorilla. And I remember he was just looking at the yard. He's like, "Man, this is my life right here. This is what I want. That's what I dedicate my life to right here. I love this stuff." But he said the S word. And then I kind of looked at him like, wow, what's the love about being in jail, bro? Like, I don't like it here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to have to get, degraded every time I come out my cell, not only by my homies, but by correctional officers making me bend over and spread my cheeks just so I can go to yard and play on my playground, And I don't want to be a part of just sticking stuff up my butt like every day, some random paperwork it's just paperwork, bro. But when you get caught with this paperwork, it's validation points. I don't want to sit here and have to worry about my neighbor's going to slice my throat and stab me in the face. But I understood the commitment that I made when I became an end soul. I understood the commitment that I made to my people. That I have to, every time I leave this cell, I have to defend and protect them at all costs, bro. At all costs. So that's why I took my job serious because, there could be a time where a Southsider or a white or a skinhead can kill one of our people. And if it's on my jurisdiction, on my watch, bro, it's going to bother me. It's going to bother my conscience whether I was out of my cell or not. I have to secure these yards in an event of an unplanned attack or, an element of surprise. So my people's blood could have been on my hands if I didn't do my job effectively. So I knew the commitment to my duties and responsibilities as a Norteño Soldado. But doesn't mean that I wanted to spend the rest of my life committed to that. I just committed to that on the streets. And I committed myself to the penal system because that's where the Norteño identity really is supposed to exist and only exist, not on the street. It's supposed to exist in the penal system. So I understood what I had to do to survive. That's all it was survival to me now. Because I didn't know what I was embracing when I embraced it. When I got my sponsors and when I got my padrino, Bubbles, and I got brought into this lifestyle, this way of life. So I took everything serious because everything that got thrown at me was, hey, man, you need to learn how to make weapons. You need to learn how to, lead these people into warfare, how to win warfare, how to not, suffer collateral damage and, lose yards. Because say if you go to war with an opposition, another faction, and you lose that yard,
an established yard because you lost a battle, or you couldn't prevent a war, or it was an unsanctioned war. There could be many reasons. And all the norteños are shipped out, and the southerners or the whites or whoever you went to war with is able to maintain that yard and keep that yard. Dude, the NF would crucify you, bro. Possibly deem you no good because you lost a household establishment. That is like one of the worst crimes that you can commit in the penal system, that the NF frown upon, is if you go to a yard and you lose it. Even if it's not by your own stupidity and your own ignorance of the law, or you being uneducated on aspects of how to secure and establish. See, when they say secure a yard, they mean keep that yard. Not just secure it with weapons and protect and defend the household. Secure it is keeping it, never losing it to the opposition. It is frowned upon because it's looked at like you basically gave it up to the opposition. You're letting them win the war. So I took my job real serious, dude. Real serious. But so RZ saying that, and I'm sitting there like, nah, I don't agree with you at all, bro. Like, this ain't my life. I've lived my life as a norteño for a very long time, but hell, like, I'm barely 23, 24. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life in prison. Yes, I put myself in a predicament where I had to go to prison and do my time like a man, but coming home was the overall objective. And the norteño struggle and norteño teachings make it a point that going home should be your overall objective. The only problem is the more you become indoctrinated with those bonds and those formats in norteño education, the more you incriminate your mind frame from not thinking about going home. You're thinking about the cause. You're thinking about norteños on that yard. You're thinking about securing these main lines. You're thinking about protecting these main lines and fighting for these main lines. To the point for years, the only thing I knew how to talk about was norteño education. I didn't know how to think about freedom. I didn't know how to think about my release date. I didn't know how to plan my future because every day norteño education was being taught, was being shared, was being circulated, was being expressed. Every time I was on those yards, I can't remember like general conversations that I had with any NSOLs, any of my brothers back in the days, because as soon as we got to the yard, it was about this. In-house policies, yard policies, squad policies, norteño administration, new filters. What did the big homie say? What's the politics for Corcoran Shoe and Pelican Bay? What are we doing next? What needs to be done? What end needs to be disciplined? What end needs to be stabbed? What are we waiting on? Who are we waiting to blast? And norteño education. So for a long time, I couldn't think about my freedom. But that was just one of those moments that I did. And he basically got life. He didn't have life back then. He paroled, was only out like 4 months, went right back with a life sentence. And he actually became an NF member. He's part of the new generation, new bloodline of Nuestra Familia members. And I trip out because as I remember that story, I'm thinking, man, like he really committed himself to something that he wanted to belong to. You know, they always say, man, it's always good to die for something or you could fall for anything. That stupid cliche narrative that goes around. Yes, I believe everybody should commit themselves to a higher purpose, a bigger purpose, something that's more than just themselves. But then sometimes I've thought about it, dude. Like, I didn't commit myself, even though I would have. Cool part about it is I would have. If my 15 years turned into a life sentence, then by all means, I'm living life behind walls. I'm going to politic. I'm going to gangbang for the rest of my life because there's nothing else to look forward to. But because when you have a date and you have an opportunity to see freedom again, of course, you think about it in the back of your head. And of course, you're always going to be hesitant to make those lifetime commitments like some of these NF members. Some of these NF members, honestly, man, they only became members for power, for that prestige, for that notoriety of being the big homie, because everybody conducts themselves different. I mean, you're going to hear about NF members who thought they were full of themselves, wanted to be the bosses of all bosses, wanted to obtain power and territory from every which way imaginable, and will try to consume you into the politics and the agendas that they have set forth. And it doesn't matter if you're expendable or you're not, or you're valuable or not, they're in their head. You know, narcissism is a big thing when it comes to gang politics. I learned that the hard way because I became narcissistic. I became egotistical. I deal with that problem so much, and I'm going to do a video about it pretty soon, probably after this. But anyways, I trip out on it now. Like, I've been out 4 years. I'm about to be 38 in a couple months. I paroled when I was 32, and I got to see what life is like out here for 4 years. It's been hard, trust me. These last 4 years on the streets and society has been a hell of a lot harder than the 15 years that I've did in prison. And it takes a real man to really maintain his, his patience out here, his integrity, his honor, and his respect. Because in prison, we're fighting for that honor and respect that RG's fighting for. Dudes that are sitting in a cell that, have time to sit at that desk or make a phone call and acknowledge you on paper, acknowledge you when you come around as, man, that's a carnal right there. That's a brother right there. They ain't going to acknowledge you as a coworker. They're going to acknowledge you as either, their superior, or you're inferior, or you're a subordinate, or you're a soldier. Because that's the one thing about NF members and NR members, Nuestra Familia members and Nuestra Raza members in the penal system, is that even though we throw the entitlement of being brothers around so much, but we're all trying to be bigger than the next man. And RG outranked me on that yard. But I always thought years later, and I think about it now when I had figured out that story in my head, like, why would he sit there and just commit himself to a lifetime commitment in prison? Like, what is a life commitment to a prison gang and being in prison for the rest of your life? What does that do to a man's ego, to a man's integrity, for a man's honor and respect amongst his fellow gang members? You're going to notice a lot of people, especially now that the prison genre is real big and a lot of people are going to come out of prison, wanting to tell their prison stories and their war stories. Kudos to them. I encourage them to do that, whatever it is that they do it for. But you're going to honestly see a lot of people with that complexity, that complex in their head where everybody wanted to be somebody in jail. That's what I thought it was. Back then, he wanted to become somebody that I wasn't ready to become. But then after years of experience as a Nuestra Raza member, Northern Structure, being a big homie, being authority in charge in multiple prisons, being the head honcho, the top echelon of the chain of command, then I realized that I wanted to be somebody big. And I think that is going to be my biggest downfall even to today, is wanting to become somebody so big in your head. Because he wanted to become somebody like the most talked about, high profile Nuestra Familia members known to man, known to social media, known amongst the collective, amongst the Norteño history and the NF history. That's what everybody strives for in prison. But in reality, it's just a facade. It's a false sense of honor, and it's a false sense of purpose, because too many men are incarcerated right now doing life without the possibility of parole. Don't even know what the true definition of honor and respect really is. To me, after growing and changing my mentality to the best of my ability, I honor a man that takes care of his family despite the struggles out here. I honor a man that can get up and work 12s every day, even 18s. I met a couple of individuals out here that worked 18-hour shifts sometimes just because their job asked them to, even though they didn't want to. And because they know that even though they're going to come home tired and miss a little bit of their family's lives and little moments of their kids, the bills are secure and the kids are going to have money for clothes and food and a shelter and a roof. That's honor right there. That's a true life commitment right there. To be committed to a family, to be committed to yourself. I think that's what people forget about when they go to prison, and all these prison genre channels won't care to elaborate on it. We're too busy committing ourselves to the next man. That's all it is. We're too busy trying to impress the next man. We're too busy trying to follow the next man's lead. Like, everybody's trying to become leaders and try to become prison gang leaders and, top-notch, high-profile gang members that are going to be talked about, are going to be remembered, or are going to have rumors floating around in different prisons, how much of their killers and how they politic and, they rule with the iron fist. And that is the truth. It's like I said, it's just a false narrative where prison ain't going to teach you nothing, and prison gangs, most importantly, ain't going to teach you how to make a commitment to yourself. They're too busy trying to make you committed to other people. And I think that's what it was, is that even though he wanted to become somebody, he still has to commit and submit to another man, to an organization that really will get rid of him in a heartbeat. And I don't think he realized that when he made that decision and when he said that out loud. I think then I was young, but to be honest with you, I became a Nuestra Raza member and a prison gang leader out of pure, I would say, ignorance. Like, I was just one of those dudes that was doing it to do it. I gangbang to gangbang. I gangbang to look cool. I gangbang to be hard. I gangbang because I like the lifestyle, pulling triggers and doing drive-bys and walk-ups and walk-downs and robbing people and stealing. So when I got put in a predicament where, like, guess what? You're going to pay for these crimes and you're going to go to prison. I knew the organization was my best bet to really survive and learn how to survive in prison. It was an essential tool to become recruited into an organization. But in reality, I can honestly say, now that I think about it, every decision I made was because other people felt like it was in the best interest for myself. I didn't know for a long time what the best interest of myself is. And to be honest with you, I've been out 4 years and I don't even know what my best interests are at heart. I'm still learning that. I still battle that every day. That's been my biggest battle out here, is what's best for me? What should I do for me? How should I live for myself? I've been living for other people and doing for other people and being told what to do by other people for so long. So now that I'm an independent thinker and an independent person, it has made life a lot more difficult because I don't know what it's like to not follow somebody else and be my own leader. And that's why I've utilized my YouTube channel as best as I possibly could, doing videos every day to become a great voice, to become a powerful voice, to be my own leader in my own direction, down my own path, without worrying about somebody trying to take me down or stab me in the back or politic against me, because I've shared my personal stories with you, being politic by Nuestra Raza, by Northern Riders. And now you see me getting really politicked against by a bunch of YouTubers that have nothing else to say and have nothing else to do other than to drag my name through the mud just for personal gain and personal views. And I'm okay with that because I've learned how to deal with so many people and so many situations of people always politicking against me. The moral of the story is this. You know, I watched that man amongst so many other men just take the situation that they were placed in and just bury themselves with it, because he doesn't know what it's like. He's been in and out of prison so much that prison became his life, to the point like he don't want to leave. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in prison that would rather be part of a prison gang and become a prison gang leader and make some money and get high all day, because it's an easy life. It's an easy way out. It's an easy way out, as opposed to people that are out here really struggling every day to pay the bills because the economy's bad, because our presidents are making us struggle with all these new policies that they implement that just affects the country and nobody else. You know, these guys are putting up the fight. Everybody that's out here, everybody that's free, they're putting up the fight. They're putting up the struggle. Look at the immigration that's going on and all this outcry and people protesting. People are fighting for some big causes out here, for some positive results. And yet we got dudes like RG that want to be in a prison gang and want to fight for a prison agenda and a prison motive and for a prison status, when some of those guys will never realize how important they really can be and how important they really are to something bigger than a prison gang. Maybe something, a video like this, maybe they can see one day, maybe they can feel what I'm really trying to say and hopefully understand what I'm saying. So I wanted to bring that story to you guys' attention. So with that being said, like I always say, is one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.